Peer review is something that a lot of researchers shy away from for fear that it's going to take too much time. Yes, peer review is something that does take a bit of time, but I'm going to show you a way to do it such that it only takes a few minutes more than the time it takes to read the actual paper. The first step is to go into Settings, Accessibility, Voice Control. Make sure voice control is switched off. Optionally, you can put these 3 buttons on. I find them helpful. And make sure Attention Aware is switched off. Next, go into Accessibility Shortcut and make sure voice control is ticked. This means that if you triple click the side button, you can turn voice control on and off as you need it. It's more handy like that. Next, go into the place where you've stored the manuscript that you're going to peer review. I find Goodreader is really helpful for that. Here's a published paper. I'm not actually peer reviewing this. And you read the paper, and as you read it, you make comments. And instead of writing those comments, you just talk them. So you click the comments button. Now you could talk into this button. You see the button on the bottom right, that microphone. You could click that and talk. But the problem with that button is that you can't use the keyboard at the same time. So that's why you need the voice control. So click 3 times. Scratch that. The introduction section is rather long and would benefit from being shortened by about 30% and focusing on only literature that's relevant to the current study, full stop. Select Benefit, Be Improved, select From, By. You see how I was able to use the keyboard and the voice at the same time to edit that comment and tidy it up. As you read manuscripts, you'll probably find some pet peeves that you have for all manuscripts, and you'll have the same comment. I'll scratch that. Too many abbreviations. So too many abbreviations is my pet peeve, and I'll show you how to turn that into nice feedback later. Once you've finished going through the manuscript and commenting on areas that need attention or improvement, then you go back to the beginning of the paper and give an overall comment. Overall, this is a very good paper with adequate controls and good presentation, full stop. The paper would be further enhanced with some adjustments, as suggested below, full stop. Select Fairly, Very. Select with some adjustments, with some adjustments. Once you've done that, you're ready to email the paper to yourself, email the file and the summary, send the file as is, go to your desktop, and I'll show you the next step. Now that this email has come through from Goodreader, I'm going to turn it into a format that's suitable to send to the authors via the journal. So watch this and then I'll show you how to do it. In particular, comma, the literature pertaining to muscle morphology and function is irrelevant, full stop. Paste and paste. Right. Now I'm going to drag this file into that nice folder that was just created. I'm going to drag this file also into that folder so everything's in the right spot. I'm going to file this away so if I have to go back and look at this report, I'll know what I wrote and etc. Done. That text from that beautifully cleaned up, edited document has been copied to the clipboard. Now all that remains for me to do is to find that email from the journal that says, please submit your peer review report soon. Click on the link. I need to copy from the clipboard that text into the box, fill in the other parts of the form and send it to the journal, and my work is done. Literally something that used to take me 35 minutes in the past, fluffing around, copying, pasting, finding files, etc. It takes me less than 2 minutes. Let me show you now how to do it. If you go into the applications folder of your computer, you will find the most awesome app that you probably never heard of before. It's called Automator, and I recommend that you save it to your desktop. What it does is it creates these wonderful automations that save you an enormous amount of time. Here's one I prepared earlier. Let's walk through the different steps of this automation. First of all, before I do that, I want to say that the best way to use this app is to, instead of think about, okay, well, what are the processes that I want to automate? Instead, look at the Automator app and look at what can it automate, and then think about how can you apply those different automation steps to the processes that you want to automate. Okay, so the first step in our automation is that it's going to take text from any application and it's going to copy it to the clipboard. So here's our peer review report. We're going to select this, and when we make the this workflow run, it's going to copy this text to the clipboard. Here I'm doing it manually to show you just how much time we're saving. Then it's going to create a new Word document, and it's going to paste, it's going to create a document, new Word document from that text. It's going to bring that Word document to the front so you can work with it. And then what it's going to do is it's going to find all these bits and pieces of text that you don't want going to the authors in your peer review report. So, these are all the standard texts that come through with reports from Goodreader. It's deleting all these things like annotation summary. It's deleting things like file. Here I've used this text.pdf. I've told it to delete that and use that as a tag and instead write overall feedback there. We've got steps in the automator to remove all these page 1, page 2, page 4, etc. And you can see that here. These are all steps, replace PDF with the words overall feedback, replace replace annotation summary with nothing, that means effectively delete it, etc. Note yellow analysis. These things definitely, with my name on it, we definitely want to remove that. I'm all for open peer review, but I don't really want my name all through the peer review report. So that's the kind of thing. Now here's my favorite part of this. Whatever your pet peeve is, for me it's too many abbreviations. There's also other pet peeves. Make yourself a little code that you can just say that into your phone as you're reviewing a paper, and then the automator is going to turn that into something that's very nice and constructive and can be sent to the authors. And then, my goodness, we need a mathematician to explain why this works, but it does. I've got it to find various numbers, numbers of paragraph spaces and replace them with nothing, and effectively what that does is that removes all the excess spaces between all the points, the feedback comments. And what it does next is it gives a prompt to the user to add an overall feedback comment. So this is when it pauses, and it's a cue to me to go in and check that I've got an overall feedback comment in the report. The next user action prompt is now. Select, copy and delete the file name from the first line. This is a very handy piece of text. I use that as a name for the file and the folder in which it goes. Then I delete it. The prompt also says check the rest of the text to make sure that it looks okay, and having a look here, yep, that looks good. I'm happy for that to go to the authors via the journal. And then what happens in the automation, we've got the document will be saved. You can paste that manuscript number into the box, so the file will be saved with a sensible name. It will save a folder. Then it's going to open the Word document, copy the text again, so it will copy all of this text onto your clipboard. It'll close it. Then you can tidy up those folders, and then that's when you go into that email from the journal and you paste that clipboard into the peer review report. We are nearly at the end. There's just one last thing to do, and that is to go into your system preferences and select keyboard and shortcuts. Now go into services. The workflow that you've just created is saved under services, and if you find it here it is, test peer review report from Goodreader. If you select that, it will mean that you can use a shortcut for that. Initially there won't be any shortcut associated with this service, which is a workflow. So what you need to do is create a shortcut. I found that Command, Option and the plus or equal sign works well. Another shortcut that works well and is not infringing in any other shortcut is Command, Option and P. So either of those will work. Once you've done that shortcut, you need to go into dictation. Well, you don't need to, but you can if you want to. I find it helpful. And select dictation on, and then create a shortcut. I like press either Command key twice, or you can create a customized shortcut. That means that while I'm fiddling around putting together that peer review report form, I can click the Command key twice, a microphone pops up, and I can just dictate what I want to say without having to type it and save my hands from repetitive strain. So that's the end of the automation for peer reviews. I found this has saved an inordinate amount of time. I'm able to now do peer reviews basically in the time that it takes to read a paper. The peer review report is practically done, give or take 3 minutes. And I hope that you'll find that helpful and enable you to reap the benefits of peer review. Happy reviewing.